Welcome everyone to this free webinar organized by Doxity in collaboration with IULM University. Welcome everybody. I'm Victoria, and on behalf of Doxity, I welcome you and thank you very much to be here with us today and for taking this opportunity to know this fantastic university in Italy. We are expecting many people from many different countries, and for that reason, if you want, you can leave a greeting in the chat and write to us from which country you are connecting, that we are curious. For those who are connecting, welcome and thank you to be with us today here in this webinar and to take this opportunity to know this fantastic university in Milan. And I'm Victoria, and on behalf of Doxity, I ask you to be with us a few minutes in order to wait for the other to connect. In the meantime, if you want, you can leave a greeting in the chat and write us from which country you are connecting, that we are curious. At the end of the session, we will have a question and answer section where you could ask questions directly to our panel, Alberto Zanetti, in the Q&A box or in the chat. I ask you to stay with us until the end in order to request the certificate of attendance of this webinar. Thank you very much to be here with us today, and I also want to thank again Alberto Zanetti, IULM International Mobility and Recruitment Officer. And I think we can start this free seminar online entitled Dreaming About Studying in Italy, Your Future, it begins in Milan. We will discover more about this incredible opportunity to study in an Italian prestigious university and the bachelor and master programs and the scholarships available. At the end, we will have a question and answer section where you could ask your question directly to Alberto. And I ask you to stay until the end in order to request the certificates of attendance of this webinar. And now, Alberto, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Victoria, for this beautiful introduction. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon, our time, but it could be also your morning or even evening, depending on where you're from. I'm starting to become familiar with this kind of environment because this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the third time in a row that I participate in this webinar hosted by Doxity. And every time is a real pleasure to be the representative of Università IULM. Before delving into details and before discovering the academic offer of our university, I would like to say a few things about the history of this institution, and I would like to share some useful information about the services and the main features of Università IULM. So as you can see from this very first slide of the presentation that we have on screen, our institution is focused on several subjects. We are currently recognized as the #1 institution in Italy for communication studies. We're also very famous for hospitality and tourism management, and for media, television, cinema, creative industries, languages, translation, and the conservation of cultural heritage in general. It's interesting to notice that our university, established in 1968, was originally funded as a center of excellence for foreign languages and translation. So originally, our university was a language and translation school. Then, throughout the years, the university became a pillar, a reference point in the Italian higher education sector for the field of communication and PR. Nowadays, we are widely recognized as the leader in this field, as I've mentioned a few moments ago. It's a private university, 100% private, with very strong relations, very strong bonds with the job market and high employability rates, as you will see in a minute. Now, speaking about the dimension of the university, probably those of you who are familiar with the Italian higher education system already, perhaps some of you know that in Italy we have a wide array of universities, public universities, private universities. Some of them may have also a medieval heritage, so dating back to the 14th, 15th century. Some of them are very big, huge, with hundreds of thousands of students. In our case, our university is classified as a medium to small size university, as you can see on screen. We are getting closer to the mark of 8,000 students enrolled with 300 teaching staff members, which immediately leads to the conclusion that we have a very good teacher to student ratio, which is 1 out of 25 at the moment. Why is this so good and why is it worth highlighting? Mainly because having the chance of studying in small groups, especially in laboratories and in specialized classes, is beneficial for your studies because you can be properly followed by your professors and lecturers. Also interesting to notice, more than 40% of the student population in degree courses held in English is international. And if we take the example of the bachelor's degree in corporate communication and public relations, we have 49% of the students inside the classroom, which is international. The campus is, of course, one of the key reasons why this university is beautiful, and I will expand on this topic in a few moments. A few mentions about the rankings, because it's important to understand the positioning of the institution in the most reputed and renowned rankings worldwide. As you can see, we are currently ranked top 100 in the world and top 200 in the world, depending on the case, for the strategic development goals number 5, 10, and 16, according to the 2030 United Nations agenda. If we go back and we take a look at the second row of this slide, it's also worth mentioning that we are currently listed as top 3 in Italy by the QS World University Rankings by subject in the field of hospitality and leisure management, which means that if you choose to study tourism at this university, and we have a 2-year master's degree in hospitality and tourism management, by the way, you are choosing one of the top 3 schools in the country at the moment. Recently, a few months ago, we've also been awarded with the prestigious acknowledgement from the International Federation of University Sports, and we were awarded the silver certified member for the great effort that the university is putting on students' welfare and for the new sports facility and equipment that we are introducing in the campus. We are based in Milan. Probably you know this from the introduction. And why is it so important to choose Milan as a destination for your studies? Because it's a truly multicultural city. It is the financial capital of Italy. Rome is the political capital, but Milan is the place to be when it comes to job seeking, job opportunities, events. You can visit more than 70 museums. We have one UNESCO heritage site, which is the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. As I said, you can attend events and shows throughout the year. And because Milan is one of the global capital cities for fashion and design, you are usually involved in these special events like the Fashion Week, just to mention the most famous one. Last but not least, we're boasting an excellent public transportation system. And what about Lombardy? Lombardy, the region where Milan is located, is always a good choice for a study abroad experience in Italy. First of all, because Lombardy is one of the wealthiest regions in the European Union according to the GDP per capita index. You can find plenty of job opportunities after graduation. If you are coming from outside of the European Union, you can ask for a 12-month permit of stay extension in order to look for a job or go ahead with your studies. And by far, our region is the most welcoming region in Italy for international students. I know that probably some of you have heard in the news that Italy is going through a very difficult period when it comes to accommodation for international students. Rumor has it that there is a sort of accommodation shortage in Italy. Well, the answer is yes. There are some difficulties at the moment in accommodating international students in some part of the country. So this piece of news is true up to a point, so to say. Milan, being a very big city with nearly 2 million inhabitants and covering a widespread area, can be an exception to this situation. And as a matter of fact, Milan is one of the cities which resisted the accommodation pressure in the last intake. And we were able to accommodate all the international students that we welcomed at our university, be it in the campus, and we will speak about on-campus accommodation in a few slides, or through alternative solutions outside. Our university is a truly international university with a proper international dimension. We have a network of more than 150 partner universities, and we are an Erasmus program university. So if you choose to become a student, you can spend a semester or an entire year in one of our partner institutions. We can offer you an internship, and we can offer you also the chance of doing thesis research abroad. We have a counseling service in English language available throughout the year, all days during the week, from Monday to Friday. We have a peer tutoring system and a wide range of services for disabled students. And when it comes to our career and placement office, I'm proud to say that our career office is currently one of the best in Italy in its field, not only because we have a dedicated unit for international students, but also because of the network. More than 1,400 partner companies with which we organize every year laboratories, events where professionals coming from outside of the university, from the world of work, come to the campus and speak to the students and listen to their projects in order to understand who are the most emerging talents among our students' population. Also interesting to notice the availability of part-time jobs as students, workers. You can apply for a part-time job up to 150 hours per semester. It's a paid job, and you can have the chance to collaborate with several offices of the university, including the office that I represent today, the International Mobility and Recruitment Office. But a presentation like this cannot be really catchy if we don't display a few statistics, isn't it? So now I'm showing a survey, the results of a survey carried out in 2023 by the Alma Laurea Consortium, which is directly linked to the Ministry of Education of Italy. So the numbers that you can see on screen are 100% official. As you can see, 81% of the graduates interviewed for this survey declared that they were fully employed within a year from their graduation ceremony, which is actually 9 points better than the national average in Italy at the moment, which is 72%. But what is perhaps most striking is the 96% of interviewed which declared that they were fully satisfied with the quality of campus facilities, infrastructures, and services. And this is really remarkable, 96%. And so why 96% of the students, graduates interviewed, declared that they were fully satisfied with the campus facility? Well, it's easy to be explained. As you can see from these pictures, the campus is beautiful. And I'm not even biased because I'm not an alumnus of this university. Spoiler. So I came to know the campus as a worker, as a representative of the university. We are just 10 minutes away from Duomo and the city center if you use the subway. We have a dedicated subway station in front of the university campus. 3 food venues, 1 public park, right at the very heart of the campus. We have a brand new fitness center, which was opened in October 2022, so just 2 years of activities. And this fitness center is just about to get even bigger because we recently acquired a swimming pool. And we have plans to open the swimming pool to students very soon. Unmatched student services, including the office that I proudly represent today. And every room, believe me, every room, every place that you need to visit is within walking distance. Now, I'm going to show you an aerial, a bird view of the campus with several pictures. This is the main building of the campus, IULM Building 1. This is the place where I am now, and I am broadcasting from the 4th floor, the student service floor. This is one of the restaurants that we have. The public park I was mentioning. And then we have a photo from the fitness center. One typical lecture at graduate level in our university. As you can see, the teaching style is very cooperative. So it's a non-conventional teaching style where you can get the chance to cooperate and do field research, field projects with your peers. And now we enter the second part of my slideshow, and we talk about the academic offer of the university. Now, being specialized in communication, hospitality, languages, probably you are already expecting such a list of courses, but let's explore the academic offer more in detail. We have a bachelor's degree completely taught in English, corporate communication and public relations, lasting 3 years. And then we have 7 programs taught in Italian, in case you know Italian as a second language or in case you have Italian origins. This is pretty common in some parts of the world, and perhaps you are connected from a part of the world where Italian is spoken, and that could be the case. Speaking about the master's degrees, we have 4 programs completely held in English: strategic communication, hospitality and tourism management, marketing, consumer behavior and communication, fashion communication, and luxury strategies. And then 5 options taught in Italian, again, if you speak Italian as a second language. Our university offers also 1-year master programs and courses belonging from the executive education field. Now, perhaps some of you may ask in the chat box, what's the real difference between a master's degree and a master program? I really don't get it. Yes, I know. I feel you because this is a very Italian classification. This is a very Italian thing. We distinguish between the 2-year master's degrees, which are longer and they combine theory and practice. We distinguish them from the 1-year master programs, which are, of course, shorter because they last only 1 year, in some cases, even less than 1 year. And the real difference is that these programs are more hands-on. In the majority of cases, they're specifically designed for people who already have a job. So people with experience looking for opportunities to take their businesses to the next level. We have 4 of them taught in English or partially in English. Communication for International Relations is taught in English with a few modules in Italian, so some Italian is requested. International Tourism and Hospitality, fully in English. International Marketing and Sales Communication, which is also an executive program. Museology, New Media, and Museum Communication, which is online, fully online, with a rolling enrollment process. So you can apply whenever you want throughout the year. How does the admission process look like? It's very easy, easier than you can think. First of all, if you're interested in a bachelor's degree, you should have a high school diploma with at least 12 years of schooling, because Italy, as a destination, is requesting at least 12 years of schooling prior to entering the higher education sector. In case you don't have 11 years of schooling, because in your home country you only have 11 years, you have 2 options available. One is a foundation course in Italy, and the other option is a supplementary year at university in your home country with all the mandatory subjects approved. The national examination for higher education, if it is necessary, so if it is present in your country. What am I referring to? I am referring to the national examination in order to access university as a learning level. Some countries in the world have this national exam, for example, Brazil, Greece, China, and many others. If your home country has this kind of examination, even Turkey is included in this list, this examination should be passed and approved. B2 language proficiency is requested, either English if you're studying in English or Italian if you're studying in Italian. Then the application process is extremely straightforward, as you can see in the bottom part of the screen. First, you submit your qualifications and your documents to apply.iulm.it, our official application platform. Then, if you are declared eligible by our admission office, you take the admission test. The admission test is administered online, so there is no need to come to Milan. You can do this from your home. If you pass the admission test, there is an online enrollment procedure, and you are requested to pay the deposit in order to secure the space at university. Then, upon confirmation, our university sends you the invitation letter if you need the visa, if you're coming from outside of the European Union. With that invitation letter, you can book an appointment and start the process of getting the study visa for Italy. The admission requirements for the master's degrees are pretty much the same. The only obvious difference is that we are requesting a bachelor's degree in a related field. So, broadly speaking, cross majors are not allowed. If you're coming from a completely different background, then you may have difficulties in being admitted to one of our programs. B2 language proficiency in English or Italian is always requested. For some selected programs, C1 level is requested. Our university only has one intake, in case you're wondering, for the long end programs. So bachelor's and master's degrees have only one intake in September, while the short end programs, for example, the one-year master programs or the executive courses, may have two intakes depending on each case, one in February and one in September. The applications for the next academic year, so for the class starting in September 2025, are opening this next November 24, so in 1 month from now, basically. You have plenty of time to have your documents ready and upload them in our official application platform as soon as it is open. What about the Italian language? Is this a problem? Is it going to be an issue for me? Well, let's clarify that if you are applying for a degree program taught in English, Italian is not mandatory. So if you are choosing to study in English, Italian is not mandatory. However, you are asked to show at least a B1 level of proficiency before graduation. This is common sense because at the end of the day, you will be living and studying in Italy for 3 years, possibly, if you're choosing a bachelor's, 2 years if you're going for a master's. So at the end of the day, knowing Italian is good for your relations and good for your job search after graduation as well. If you are studying directly in Italian, needless to say, B2 level is mandatory. Good news is that in case you are starting Italian language from zero, from scratch, you have a lot of opportunities to learn Italian because we have several courses. There is an intensive crash course before the start of classes, and then there is a curricular course directly in the study plan. How much does it cost to be a student enrolled in this beautiful university? The 3-year bachelor's degrees are listed at 8,500 euros per year, while the 2-year master's degrees are listed at 9,900. Please take into consideration that the prices that you see on screen, the tuition fee that you see on screen now, may be subject to a slight change in the next future, because the university may introduce a 5% increase starting from the next academic year. This is still to be confirmed, but there's a chance that this is going to happen. So it's a slight increase, not dramatic. The fees are administered according to a 3-installment scheme. You have the first installment, which is to be paid when you confirm the place at university. The second installment is to be paid in December, while the third installment is to be paid in March of the subsequent year. The good news is that Università IULM is boasting several opportunities in order to help international students with talent. We have tuition fee waivers offered directly by the university based on merit requirements. If you are applying for admission to a bachelor's degree and you have a final grade from high school, at least 80% minimum, you could be declared eligible for a 50% reduction. At the same time, if you're looking for a master's degree and you have a bachelor's with at least 80% of the final grade, you could land a 50% reduction. The waivers are assigned according to merit, of course, but also according to a first come, first serve criterion, because we have limited availability. They can be renewed for the second year of your studies if you have very, very good performances at university. For a restricted number of programs, we even have a 100% tuition fee waiver granted to candidates with an outstanding curriculum and top-tier grades from previous education. You can see the full list on screen. You can take a picture. This list is being updated, though, so minor changes may occur before the start of the recruitment process for the next academic year. If you want to know more, please stay in touch with our university and visit our website and our application platform apply.iulm.it on a regular basis. Last but not least, DSU regional scholarships offered by Lombardy, the region where we are based, are always available. They're always in the discussion. The grants may go up to 7,000 euros per year with accommodation and free meal included if some special conditions apply. They are assigned according to merit and family income criteria. So in this case, your family financial situation comes into play. They can be combined with tuition fee reductions mentioned above. The call for application for this opportunity will be released in June 25. It is important to notice, if you choose to apply for the DSU Regional Scholarship, that this opportunity should be always regarded as a plan B. It shouldn't be regarded as your primary source of funding for your study abroad experience. First of all, because it is not granted. There is a selection process and you may be declared eligible or you may not. Secondly, because once the results for the application are published, usually in November, by that time you will be already a student enrolled at university and you would have already paid the first installment of the tuition fee. So as we always say, please budget your study abroad experience well in advance and put some reasoning in it. And last but not least, about accommodation. I promised you I would share something about accommodation. Unlike other institutions in the city, we have the great, huge opportunity of having two on-campus accommodation solutions with a special price per month of 500 euros with double rooms combined with a shared kitchen on the same floor. Now, these beds are assigned according to merit criteria and first come, first served criteria. And we have a limited number available. Just to give you a broad idea, for the undergraduate students, we unfortunately have only 10 beds available. We open the selections in November, and these beds are usually taken after 1 week. So if you are projecting on asking for on-campus accommodation, please take into account that only very early bird applications make it until the assignment of the bed in the on-campus accommodation. If you are not able to make it, please relax. It's not the end of the world. We have other opportunities in the city. You can always join the standard on-campus accommodation call for application based on income and merit criteria in May 2024. Alternatively, you can rely on one of our partners, external partners like Aparto, Milan Housing, Spot a Home. Broadly speaking, our city, Milan, is super welcoming and you are able to find a proper accommodation solution if you plan things in advance. That is the most important thing. So, this was the end of my brief introduction to Università IULM. Thank you for your kind attention. We now have a space for a Q&A session. So, Vittoria, over to you. Thank you very much for being with me through the slideshow.
Thank you very much, Alberto, for your interesting presentation. And now let's begin with, I read a lot of questions, so one question is there a minimum grade we need to get from the admission test to get accepted to the university?
Well, depending on the admission test and depending on the program, there is always a threshold level below which you are not able to make it. It really depends on the intended program. I will just quote an example because that is the first one that comes to my mind. For example, the bachelor's degree in corporate communication and PR. We have an online admission test, and the admission test is passed with at least 70 points out of 100. Vice versa, if we are referring to a minimum score from high school, so from the high school diploma, in order to be declared eligible for admission at our university, we normally look for candidates with at least 70% of the final grade.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And another question is, how does the university support international students in their transition to life in Italy?
Well, the most relevant example in my head is, without any hesitation, the career service that I mentioned during the presentation. It is probably one of the most efficient offices that we have. They have a dedicated unit for international students, and they can help them finding an internship opportunity or a job opportunity in Italy. That is for sure one channel that can help the students a lot. Then if there is other help to be needed by the students, please never forget that we have a English language counseling service open to all students here at the campus, and it is available for free. So the support for international students is always ready.
Thank you. And I read some question on a similar topic, that is, so the university don't have a master and bachelor degrees in psychology and engineering, right?
Unfortunately, we don't, because we are specialized in the field of communication, PR, tourism. So we don't have psychology and we don't have engineering.
Okay, perfect. And I read a very long question that is, for admission into a master degree program taught in English, can the B2 level proficiency requirement be waived by submitting a document stating that the bachelor degree was conducted and certified in English?
If it was fully in English, so all the classes, all the laboratories, and all the exams, including the final dissertation, yes, it's possible. That is the only case.
Okay, perfect. And yes, I read another question similar, that is, do you accept also the TOEFL home edition score?
I think the only TOEFL accepted by my colleagues is the IBT. We need to cross-check with the students' admission office, but I'm pretty sure they accept the IBT. They also accept the whole series of Cambridge English for Learners certificates. So the first certificate, the certificate of advanced English, and the certificate of proficiency in English. They accept IELTS starting from 5.5, which would be the minimum. 6.5 is recommended, to be honest. We don't accept Duolingo, in case you're wondering. Duolingo is not accepted.
Okay, perfect. And some question about the courses, and one is, do the courses include midterm exams or partial assessment?
Yes, some of them do, especially if you are studying communication and languages as well. You may have some partial exams or midterm exams, if you prefer.
Okay, thank you. And another question is, what resources are available for academic support, such as tutoring?
We have a very, very well-established peer tutoring service, which basically works as a, let's say, buddy program, because every freshman at university has a peer tutor, which is appointed by the university itself. And the peer tutor is usually a senior student from the same degree program. So with a larger experience, maybe he or she, the peer tutor, is about to graduate. So he is almost at the end of his career, and he's able to give advice to the newly enrolled students and to offer support in case there is some kind of difficulty with the study plan or with the activities in general. This is an option. Then we have an internal orientation office, which is always available to support students in case they need help through their career. And last but not least, the Students' Administrative Office, in Italian Segreteria Studenti, is always ready if you have concerns related to your exams, or if you have troubles, for example, in finding some resources for your final dissertation. So the channels through which you can ask for help are multiple. There are many, and never forget that you can always speak with the professors, because one of the advantages of our university is that we have a very close relation, almost one-to-one, between the students and their lecturers. So in case you find yourself in trouble, you can always drop an email to the professor and ask for a meeting during their office hours.
Thank you. And I have I read a related question about what is the typical class size.
Interesting, very interesting. Depending on the program, you may have some classes where everyone is compelled to attend the so-called obligatory courses, as we call them in the university system. So the mandatory courses are normally attended by the whole class. So if you are part of a program with 200 students, like 180, 190 students will be there for the mandatory courses. But then when you attend the laboratories or the elective courses, the group is much smaller. We're talking about a class of 20 to 25 people. So very intimate, very cooperative.
Thank you very much. And on the theme of scholarship and admission, we have more questions about are people from all the country eligible for applying for scholarship and for obviously the admission?
Yes, all the countries, all the countries. Um, the only restriction that I would like to mention, which is not really a restriction, it's a piece of advice. So it's common sense. If you are applying from a country where the visa application process takes longer than usual, I don't want to mention the specific countries, but the people involved in this conversation know what I'm referring to. Please take into account that the earlier you apply, the better it is, because the visa application process can take you long time. So I would suggest to start applying immediately in November next month. That's the only piece of advice. All nationalities are welcome.
Thank you very much. And another question is there a list of required subjects for admission into the specific major? You mentioned that they must align with the previous degree.
This is a very specific question. Of course, I'm not able to reply for each and every single program that we have at university. But the good news is that if you get in touch with our students' admission office, you can send an email to admission@iulm.it. You can ask for information regarding the subjects and topics which need to be prepared for the admission test for each and every specific program. There is a list which is released by the course coordinator, and the student's office can share this list with you. And I'll tell you more. The list of subjects and topics is also available on our official website when the application process starts. So just browse the website and you will find all the information.
I would like to say that in the next few days, you are going also to receive an email with the record of this webinar and additional material, informative, obviously, about ULM University. So you also will receive all the contacts you need to continue to write your question, also the most specific one. And I read another question about, can I take one academic year from university and continue studying as the second year student?
So this would be basically a transfer from another university. Let's put it that way. Transferring from another university from abroad is not easy, but it's not specifically related to our university. It's difficult in the Italian system in general, because the credits from the home university should be recognized by the student's administrative office, and it is not an easy task. So whenever we speak with prospective students interested in a transfer procedure, we always warn the student that having to take some extra exams, and in the worst case scenario, having to start studies from scratch, should be taken into account, especially because our university is very specific, very focused. So not all the exams can be converted into credits for our institution. It's not completely impossible. If you have a one-year curriculum in your home country, please get in touch with our university and we will see what we can do. But it's difficult in practice. And I'm being very honest with you because I think it's fair to say that.
Thank you. I'm going to read the last question, and one is, what are the conditions for 100% scholarship reduction? Which percent of score is needed about the master?
So as we saw during the slideshow, if you are applying for a master's degree and the master's degree is eligible for a 50% tuition fee reduction, so half the price, the minimum score from the bachelor's degree should be 80 out of 100, 80%. Then an equivalence can be made between your home system and the Italian system. If your intended master's degree is included in the list for the full tuition fee waiver, so the 100% tuition fee waiver, you have to be an excellent student with top tier grades, first class honors. We're talking about like 95 out of 100, just to give you an idea.
Thank you. And the last question is about what kind of extracurricular activities are available for students?
Quite a lot, to be honest, and our university is improving from this point of view. We have several sports clubs. We have a basketball team, a soccer team, we have a volleyball team, and recently it was like a dance team was established, which is being currently administered by the students directly. So it is more like a students' club. Then, if you want to be part of the university radio, you can apply and become a speaker of the university radio because they run auditions throughout the year. And you could be also involved in other activities, also thanks to our partners of ESN, Erasmus Student Network. They are very famous among international students because they run the activities for international students enrolled and international exchange students all together. So I would say that if you choose ULM as your final destination, you will never get bored because you will have a lot of things to do.
Thank you very much, Alberto. And now I'm going to send in the chat the link in order to receive the certificate of attendance. Perfect. And I would like to thank everybody to be here with us today for all your questions. And as I said, in the next day, you will receive the recording of this event and additional material about ULMS. And thank you again, Alberto. I don't know if you want to leave the participant with a final message.
Well, my final message, of course, is thank you for joining this session this afternoon, and thank you for your interest in our academic offer. If you wish to stay up to date, please follow the instructions given to you by Doxity and keep updated by following the university on social media, if you like. And remember to browse our official website and our application platform, apply.iulm.it, on a regular basis from now on until the second week of November, I would say, when we will open the selections for September 25. This university is really something different, not only from the academic standpoint, but also from the point of view of the services to students. And if you wish to be even more involved before making your choice, remember that you can always send an email to admission@iulm.it and book an in-person campus tour. We are also available to take you through the campus for a guided tour, thanks to the help of our peer tutors. So whenever you want, you are very welcome to visit our university. Thank you.
Thank you very much again, and have a good day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.